Kevy's up, it becomes Severus. Full stand on the stopwatch, it's carnage! They're all charged at his command! Oh, Kaboom! It's do or die!
It feels like every series, every best of two cannot get more hype than the one that we just saw. Fury taking it 2-0 against Kanga, but we're going to try one up this one, Tally, because we've got Antic coming up against Ground Zero, and we haven't seen the Antic boys play just yet. But let's talk about their roster. Let's have a look at them, because the names and faces will be very familiar for some LCO viewers.
Yeah, I mean, we just have a star-studded lineup here. You know, when Timmy called me up and he's like, James, we need you in for LCO. I was like, all right, who's playing on these days? I saw Antic versus GZ. This is what I've been waiting for. Like, I'm so excited to see these teams play. I think, like, even though the fact we have Swiper in the jungle, I do want to cook here for a second. I think Swiper is an excellent team fighter. He always has been, and one of his weaknesses has been the laning phase. And a lot of the junglers right now are exceptional team fighters, so I think he might just slot into this role really well. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Ooh, that's a really valid point, actually. You know, bringing up maybe some of the issues that they've had. Swipe obviously also taking a little bit of break when it comes to that competitive play. He's mostly been coaching in recent years, Skim. So how do you think coming back into playing is going to be for him?
Yeah, I think it's always an interesting transition. We've seen a few players actually do that. I remember Poltron comes to mind as one individual where you've been a player, you've gone to a coach, and then you go back to being a player again. And I think you certainly view the game with a very different perspective on things because you've been, for however long, looking through the lens as a coach, right? So you've been seeing it from a different perspective of how can I explain this and get these principles and ideas across to my team. But then you're saying, well, can I actually put into action what I've been telling everybody? And obviously then coming into this one and having to be an autofill jungler even harder. But I think the one thing I will say is this team is star-studded for the fact that they have, what, 10 titles between them? I think like King has 5, Swiper has 4, Roma has 1 from memory. So this is a pretty big dog team that have been around in the formation years, you would say, of OPL. So this is them coming back to the LCO and saying, like, we've still got it in us.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe some people who have only just freshly tuned into the LCO won't know those two names, but trust me, after this series, you will definitely be familiar with them. But their opponents are going to be in Ground Zero, and this is also a very star-studded lineup, Tally, especially... Actually, I was going to say in the bottom lane, but then you look at mid lane with Kisei, and then jungle with Shan, and then also top lane with Tien. So all of the players as well, just as phenomenal as the Antic players.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of whispers on the grapevine that, like, this is the team right now. Like, GZ is the contender that everyone has been looking out for, and I think that, like, the matchup this game is going to be mid. I think that Kisei is in an insane form right now, and Roma has always been, like, one of the players that I thought was really scary to versus a mid laner.
It's interesting that you say the mid lane is going to be that matchup, because there's also something to be said, Skim, about that bottom lane, right? Lemus, Benvi, they've played as a duo before last year in Split 1 when they were Bliss, obviously coming second in LCO. Now they're back together again, but they're going to have to go up against the likes of King and Draku, who, again, you've said, have many titles for themselves under the belt.
Well, that's it. It's almost like, you know, it's the best of O's versus the best of O's that went abroad to NA, right? Coming back down to sort of say, like, you know, you've had your fun. You've had your little bit of an ego check of like, oh, we're so good, guys. But now let the big boys come back and show you how it's done. So I'm really excited to see, you know, how King and Draku form as a partnership, because in their own rights, both insanely good players. But do they have enough synergy, enough understanding, enough intuition that if somebody goes for like a step up in a lane or a potential hook or a little ward play, like, oh, I know exactly what he's looking to try and initiate, because certainly Benvi and Lemus have that one down pat.
Yeah. The other thing being, you know, two players, Draku and King, they've gone overseas separately. Now they're coming back, they have to find that synergy. But within O's, there's a lot of times that you might transition into coaching and then coming back to playing. And that's when you might have to come up against a player that you've coached in the past. And we do know that there is a little bit of a history in that regard between Swiper and Tien. So this is their history of, you know, what they've interacted with throughout the past few years of LCO as well, Skim.
That's it, exactly. And I mean, the reason we call it the Master versus the Apprentice is because they, once upon a time, shared a position on the Chiefs together way back in 2019. Swiper was the main star. Tien was then the apprentice at the time, the understudy, learning as much as he could. And then as Swiper got the offer to then move across into Order, Tien then became the main star for Chiefs that following year. So then they got to face each other in that final year of the OPL. And it was almost like a bit of a bittersweet ending, because they sort of got a chance to go up against each other, test their ability. Then the league comes crumbling down, but then they both got to then spend time abroad. They both in that exact year then went across to North America to enjoy some time over in the LCS, either as a coach or as a player, as you can see from their graphic here. But somehow, someway, they've always found their way to come back home to the shores of Australia.
Yeah, it's inevitable that these two players will, in some regard, face up against each other, but they're not going to be in the same lane this time round, Tally. They're not going to both be in that top lane. So is this a slider advantage for Swiper? Now that he's jungle, he can decide if that priority has to go top if he knows certain ways to shut down Tien, or is it like, don't even worry about your opponent in that regard, focus on what the team needs?
I think it's more so like it's a focus on what the team needs. Like when you play on such like a veteran roster like this, you're not too worried about like, oh, this player's like a bit scary, you know. You just lock in with like your game plan, your drafts. Like you've done a lot of prep. Like I assume we're gonna see like a very quick draft coming up from both these teams because they know what they probably run through multiple scenarios of what's gonna happen. I think that we're gonna go into the Rift and we're gonna see some very clean gameplay.
Well, let's see if we can get any of that information out of them because King is going to be joining us from Antic here. Get to ask him some questions. King, how does it feel to be back in O's and to be playing in LCO for, I guess, your first time? It's rebranded now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm excited, you know, it's been so long since I've actually been here for longer than like, you know, a couple months, you know. I usually just come back on my my breaks and then I see a few players and I'm like, all right, I'm out again. But seeing like new faces, it's always interesting playing against them as well. I think it's definitely like people surprise me, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, do you think that that's what might play out in this series? That you are going to have a bit of a surprise in the bot lane against Lemus and Benvi?
I mean, I played against them a few times. I obviously watched them play. You know, I kept track of O's. Well, you know, I was watching. Obviously, I was friends with a lot of players. I still am friends with a lot of players. You know, watching James play, Tally here. I watched last year the finals. I was actually there to watch the split one finals. So I watched Lemus and Benvi play live, and honestly, they weren't bad.
Wow.
And I mean, I think the most interesting player for me on Ground Zero is probably Shern. You know, I play with Shern a lot. You know, one of my most the teammates I've spent a lot of time with, and he's probably the one I mean, everyone on my team is looking out for, to be honest.
All right, okay, so maybe we should also be keeping our eyes there on what Shern's going to deliver. I'd also ask, you know, coming back from NA, now that you're back in OS, do you feel that you have something to prove, whether it's to yourself, whether it's to people in OS or people overseas?
Not really. Like, you know, like I'm pretty confident in myself, and you know what I've done. I don't really need to like listen to any of these players because I feel like, you know, if they think they're better than me, then they should have done it already, right? So yeah, I don't really feel like I need to prove anything.
I love that mindset. I love that answer so much. Tally, do you want to jump in with a quick question?
Yeah, I'm gonna go off on a bit of a tangent here because like, I know you like to play other games, so like I have a bit of a question here. So I know you've invested quite a bit of time into RuneScape. I know you're a very successful Iron Man, and I want to know, like, was it harder to get 1 to 99 agility, or is it harder to play red side bot lane?
Honestly, I mean, the agility was literally light work to me. If I could, I would do it again. You know, that was probably one of my funnest grinds. But I actually haven't noticed red side bot lane. I mean, I haven't noticed it. I don't know, it doesn't seem like anything to me.
All right, well, thank you so much, King. We appreciate it. Wish we had more time with you, but for now, we're going to let you go and good luck for today.
All right, thank you.
See ya.
That's so interesting. He says he hasn't noticed red side bot lane, but I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure Schönfire will let him notice it because he'll be at level 3 saying, knock, knock, old teammate. This ain't Direwolves 2017 anymore.
Maybe he's faking confidence, you know.
True.
He's just maybe the other team's watching the interview. He's like, yeah, guys, I haven't noticed red side at all.
I really wanted to ask him and be like, hey, mate, so like with the Mistweaver buffs, do you feel like that's going to be the the blessing that you need to have that good luck charm to win your bot lane matchup? And he'd be like, nah, I don't need that, mate. I've actually re-rolled, and that would have been his answer. So there you go, Nat. Back to you.
Thanks, Kim. Thanks, Kim. Hopefully next time we get him on, we'll get a bit more time so you can actually ask him that. We'll see if he notices the difference, if that's going to play out in that regard for himself. But Schönfire, he said, was where pretty much all of the side of Antic is going to be keeping their eyes on. And we talked about the mid lane matchup. We talked about that bot lane matchup, but we actually haven't really gone too much more detail, Tally, into that jungle matchup. And if you feel that there is going to be a big difference between Swiper and Shern.
I think a lot of it will come from Shern's experience will shine through where like he can track the jungler. He knows like he's going to be in a matchup. He's going to be like, okay, Swipers should be here, guys. Like care for this gank. You know, he's going to be positioning for counter ganks. I don't really think we'll see Swiper find like surprise ganks or the ability to like really outpass Shern. I think it's more just going to be about Swiper trying to navigate the early game and then like get into a position to be a stronger team fighter.
Yeah. Well, look, we had a chat to Antic's bot lane. Well, sorry, their ADC. I think it's only fair that we also have a chat to Ground Zero's carry. So we got Lemus joining us here now. Lemus, I gotta ask straight off the bat, man, you're coming up against King and Draco. Are there some nerves here?
Look, I'm gonna be honest, not really. I think the only way that Antic win is if Q comes online and I'm just like completely like 1v9s the whole game, but otherwise I think it'll be a breeze.
I love that confidence. I asked Benvi last week how it was, you know, being back on playing with you, but for you, is it nice having that confidence of Benvi having someone that you've played with before?
To be honest, it doesn't feel like when I play with Benvi, it doesn't feel like we've played together for that long. It sort of felt like playing like with a new support at the start. So I know like everyone assumes that like we have all this inbuilt synergy and everything, but to me it just feels like playing with like any other support player really.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that has its pros and cons in itself, but Tally, you got anything you want to ask Lemus?
Yes, actually I do. I have a very important question. I need to know why every single game that I play with you, if you're on the enemy team, you drop a nuke. But if you're on my team, it's like, guys, I think I should first time Swain here. And we just like, you know, and have I done something to you? Like, why am I getting inted by you every single time we play together?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I literally have never lost lane in my life.
It's not fair.
Not bad. Skim, would you like to add on for anything?
Yeah, look, Lemus, I know you're not going to tell me anything because that's just the nature you give us in these interviews. But with all these really good AD carries leaving us, like the likes of Raze, Praetor, and so on, who do you think your biggest competition is now? Is it King or is it Violet?
Are you serious? It's Nebula, obviously. I don't think like... I think like every player in LCO pretty much has zero pressure in lane. Like I don't feel any pressure at all, even when I'm playing hard losing matchups. Also, I think that their team fighting presence is like negligible. People Nebula, like that guy kind of scares me. Like I just see him dash in Perma and like dodge everything and like one-shot you with Lucian. I'm shaking, bro, I swear. Help me.
I'm shaking. It's been said. I'm using that one in this game, mate.
You got a little bit of time before that matchup happens, but Lemus, before I let you go, King said that Shernfire was the person on your team that they're going to be keeping their eyes on the most, but is there anyone on the side of Antic that you're very cautious of, that you're kind of worried for?
Listen, man, all I'm going to say is like the last time that Zoranus played versus the end, he locked in some champion called Timo or something. So if I see that thing on my team, bro, I'm ganking top level 2 as an ADC. I don't care.
So based.
I love it. Lemus giving us some of the best interviews. Thank you so much for joining us. Good luck today.
Oh, thanks, guys. It was nice seeing you all again. Yeah.
See ya. Oh, that's so sweet. I love Lemus' sense of humor. It's so dry, but it just packs a punch every time he says something.
It's so good.
So great.
Like, you just see Tally like, why are you doing this to me? He laughs, reacts. Don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, never happened a
I've
day
never
in my
lost
life.
lane in my life.
No, never. And we're probably not going to see anyone picking red side anytime soon either. Antic picking blue side for themselves in game 1. Ground Zero picking up blue side for themselves in game number 2. We've seen it actually not really matter. It feels that a team on paper, even if they're close to each other, they're still going to have that advantage. Doesn't matter if they're going to have that draft priority or not on the blue side. So maybe you guys take that into factor, maybe you don't, but either way, you should definitely have your say in who you think is going to be taking game number 1. Make sure you jump into Twitch chat. Make sure you use those channel points to have your say and go up there just above Tally. And I'll tell you guys what we predicted as talent as well. I don't even remember. Did we all go the same or did we go very different for this one?
Oh, okay.
Tally and Skimmy versus Nat round 2.
Round 2. Well, it didn't work out for any of us last time, so we'll see if it's going to work out this time. Do you guys want to give more information on why you think the 1-1 between Antic and Ground Zero? Do you want to start, Tally?
I just think because we haven't seen much from Antic yet. We haven't seen them play, and like
True.
I think that Ground Zero is such a strong side, so I expect they've both chosen blue, and the way like I would approach it is like we have one sure like comp we're very confident to win on. And I think that like when they get blue side, they should be very, very confident to win. And then on the other side, I think the other team, which is also really good, should feel the same position. So like that's why I decided to go for like the even split.
Yeah. Similar thoughts. I think for me, it was just hard to say that like one team is better than the other without seeing both sides actually play, first of all. Grand Zero also looked really, really clean, but I'm just giving the 1-1 because I'm like, well, Antic on paper should definitely be able to take a game away, right? So until I've actually seen the skill levels and sort of where these rosters are actually going to land, if Swiper is going to remain their jungler for the rest of the split, then yeah, I'm quite happy with a 1-1 to start things off with.
I feel like deep down, we just really want a 1-1. You know, we've had, what, 2, 4, 6, 7 best of 2s, and none of them have, like, all of them have been 2-0s. I feel like internally we really want that 1-1. But, Skimmy, I was actually going to ask if you could explain why I went 2-0 for Antic.
Well, the reason you've gone 2-0 is because you believe in Zoranus locking in the Teemo, and you think that, as Limus already mentioned, he's going to be so mind-controlled by the fact that a Teemo gets locked in. He says, you know what, I'm going to become River and actually flip the lane and gank you as an AD carry. I don't actually need a support. So can you imagine a ganking Lucian? Scary, scary stuff.
That could be potentially scary stuff. I feel like there's been so much hype about this roster. It would also be, I don't know, almost upsetting to not see them come in and 2-0. I know that there's all the realms of possibilities, right? We don't know how long they've been scrimming. We don't know what's been going on behind the scenes. But to have a roster with the accolades that they do, it would be quite a shock to not come out swinging in your first series. But in saying that, what you guys have said is also very true, that Ground Zero have phenomenal players that have just as similar accolades. They've also had just as many international showings and performances for themselves as well. So do you want to bring up any stats or any big predictions, Skim, on what might be banned or let through? Are we going to see some wacky stuff? Is it probably going to be the most meta matchup we've seen? As you're saying it, by the way, we should just jump straight into Champ Select.
Well, let's just do that then. Let's see exactly what actually comes into effect here, because I'm expecting an Akali or an Akali ban. I would love to see that champion get played, but actually, they're going to go super spicy. It's a first pick Seraphine. And instantly Grand Zero, just a bit of a Limus special as well, wasn't it? He was only really the only player from memory last split that actually wanted to play this Nyla. They're going to play it with the Sona, so denying that Seraphine Sona potential.
Yeah, so as you can see, like it's a really quick draft coming in. Like the Senna's been taken away, which is the pairing with the Seraphine. I assume Antic wanted to pair the Seraphine with the Sona. Ground Zero has come up with an answer to pair with the Sona straight into the Seraphine. So like they've run through all these scenarios, like they know what's going on.
And straight away, they're going to go for the Tristana as well. Whether or not it's a flex, we do know that Roma can play in the mid lane, but whether or not King would want to utilize that in the bot at all, we'll have to wait and see. But straight away, I mean, you look at some of the bans, obviously a lot of the standard ones, like the Ashe, Kalista makes sense. The Senna now actually showing a little bit of respect as well, and perhaps a little bit of targeting towards Swiper, taking away, what, the Xin, the Maokai, some of his champions that would find it quite easy to, you know, start up a fight.
Yeah, when I think of Swiper in the jungle, I think of like Maokai, Xin, Jarvan, like these are strong team fighting junglers. They've taken out the two obvious ones and like picked champs that Jarvan isn't necessarily like very good into. So we'll see like what he decides to pick later on in the 4-5.
So we've got the Corki is currently being looked at, but the Udyr is the main one whilst Grand Zero figure out where they want to go with this one, right? We've seen murmurs of this Udyr elsewhere in the world being played in the top lane, especially over in the LCK. So I'm curious to see just how strong Zoranus will be in this one, knowing that he is certainly a player quite keen to pick up new trends and roll with them.
Yeah, I think Udyr is a really strong pick, especially into champs like Corki. Like you're so insanely tanky with the shields and mobility. Like it's really easy to maneuver around all his damage. And like Nyla isn't a traditional AD carry. She doesn't have that same DPS output that like a Zyra or Philios would. So he's going to be sitting pretty this game.
Talking about more bans then, and you can see Fire right now thinking, let's just pinch this champion pool so much that Swiper really is in a bit of a rough spot. Maybe actually forced to do a bit of a Tim Carbon Wendell special and say, maybe I just play Ivan here, guys. Maybe that's the angle. Make friends with the jungle and gank and rock up and be a support to help you all out on my merry way. But the response straight away from them is, well, we can't allow them to deny all this, but then give Shern some of his best champions. And certainly one of his best last split, at least, was the Vi.
Yeah, I'm very curious to what they might pick. I think that Shern will probably go for the Rel here on 4 or something. I don't really know what Swiper was going to have as an answer, but we'll have to see. I'm more certain about like where the champs are going from Antic side though. I think that the Tristana fits Roma's playstyle like a lot. More than likely, we're going to see King on the Seraphine. Like he's a big like efficiency player, and like he just thinks that Seraphine is really strong in the bot lane right now.
It comes around, doesn't it? It's like a fashion trend in a way, because it's like 1 minute, this champion is trash, and the next minute, we're just playing double supports, double enchanters in the bot lane again. It's just absolutely broken, but it's always an interesting time when the AD carries that can be Mechanic Max players are like, yeah, look, I'll lock in this one. I'm not too upset about it. You mentioned a rel on 4 here. It is actually going to get locked on in, so nice prediction from yourself.
I still got it. I still got it, Scheme.
He still knows. He still remembers all those draft conversations with the coaches.
Yeah, I'm still really curious about what's going to come out here for the 4-5. Like, the support is really up in the air. I don't think the Seraphine will necessarily go support, but I want to know what champion they want to pair with the spot lane.
What springs to mind? Would they want to go for a traditional marksman, or are you just thinking double enchanter? What's your kind of reasoning?
You don't necessarily want to pair like an AD carry with the Seraphine support. They can, like, because it's pretty much happened on the other side. We could see King want to do that, but I think that based on how the comp goes, I'm a bit up in the air, honestly.
This is when they just slam like mod kill on Poppy, and we just go, all right, yeah, Poppy support. It's getting a little bit rowdy here in the bot lane. We'll wait and see exactly where they decide to go with things, as they are considering another one in the Bard. Maybe a shout out to Benvi, who's really, really good at the Bard. He's happy, a bit of a smile on his face as it is locked on in. And now a chance for Ground Zero to say, all right, what is our answer? Because the Poppy's a fantastic pick at denying all this easy engage that both Nyla, Corki, as well as Rel will be hoping for. But what is the saving grace that Tien can say, this is what 5th pick was saved for?
Just going for a standard Nah, like it just fits really well into like Udyr, like the kite play style. He also works really well with like Rel engage. I think that's a really good pick here. I like the comps that are coming out from both teams. Antic comp is very, very high execution. Like they have extremely low damage, so they can't afford to fall behind in the early game. But I also think that these players are very like, it's just when the veterancy comes through and you get to see that like they'll be able to perform. I really like the Bard pick against the Sona especially because the Seraphine is able to sit in bot 2v1 and allow Bard to roam, and I think if Bard impacts stuff like this Tristana Corki matchup, like he can really take over the game.
Certainly could. A good roam at the right time, pick up some chimes, and maybe a cheeky little binding in the mid lane as well, and so that Tristana becomes an absolute weapon. Certainly could turn around the tempo of how these matchups are meant to be played. And I think you hit a really good point, right? The fact that it isn't the most ease of execution, which tends to be the saving grace, right? It tends to be what you're looking to try and achieve. Hit a stun, get a kill, GG. But in this case, it's very more, much more nuanced, right? Like, you know, dance around, find a little bit of poke, out-sustain, and look to try and find resets from that point onwards. So I suppose you've talked a little bit about what you've seen from Antic. From the side of Ground Zero, though, would you say that theirs is a lot easier? I mean, I just see all this engage. Surely Ground Zero would be feeling comfortable then.
Well, it's easier in the sense that they have 3 carry threats, like the Nah, the Corki, and the Nyla, so they can kind of fall back if like one lane does screw up. So it's not too bad, but it's also the same thing as the anti-comp. Like it's also high execution. Like you can't afford to miss like your rel engages or your Sona ults, because if Tristana has free roam on these team fights, like, he's going to be outputting so much damage.
So let's then talk about what we sort of expect from these first 10 minutes. You mentioned already that Shenfire should be able to utilize a lot of his experience to get a bit of an advantage here, whereas much more for Swipe it will be about getting through the laning phase, or getting through those camps and assisting his teammates in those laning phases to get themselves into those objective points. But are you expecting an area of focus? Are you thinking bot lane, for example, where Seraphine Sona try to get the edge?
I'm not really sure like how the priority goes in bot lane. I assume that like it's going to be pretty even, but like one of Rel's strengths is like her invade is really good. Like her Q smite execute threshold is like so high for an early game champion, so it's very easy to steal away camps if Shenfire does want to do a bit of disruption like in the early game.
What if somebody does decide to go for? Because as it has been from their first 2 games on the stage here for Ground Zero, Shenfire has been relentless in his pursuit of targeting that bot lane. Lanes, or rather sides, are switched, so not going to have that red side lane luxury that we always talk about as a very scary place for an AD carry to find themselves. But I am curious if you know, Draku does get that chance to rotate as freely as he would be hoping for to try and impact those other lanes.
This is very interesting.
This is looking like a cheeky little invade where Zorinus is doing some crazy things at level 1.
He is rotating around the chickens. He has that double R combo, which does an insane amount of damage level 1. See if he steals away the chickens.
If he steals away the chickens and also steals away Shenfire's HP bar, because he's getting so low. Look at that. Insane. Even with the smite to regen a fair bit of it up. He sent a message and said, good luck on your jungle pathing. That's good chance now for Swipe to try and pull ahead despite being seen on that ward.
Shern also committed his smite to killing that camp, so he's still going to be level 1 with no smite on the second camp. He's falling very far behind in clear speed right now, so Swiper is pretty much sitting pretty for the rest of this early game.
Is that enough to actually send him back to base to regen up? Can he do the buffs? That's my question right now. I mean, you're looking at this and thinking, surely Antic are feeling so happy about a really cheeky play connect from Zorinus, which I think he's quite renowned for.
Yeah, it was honestly just really smart pathing from him. He just walked all the way around, like slowly checking vision, made his way into the jungle, and he found his little avenue to get a tiny advantage for his team.
Let's see. Oh, look at Ryoma. He's found his moment. Level 2, instant jump on Kisei's head. Is he going to pay the price? This one's so low. He burned everything in that one. He'll have a TP to get back to base. But I like the aggression already on. Saying to Kisei, yeah, you might be the big dog, but I'm home now. Let me show you what's up.
I think he didn't really time the bone playing there well, and I think he cancelled 2 autos. He maybe had lethal there, but you know he still flashed out, survived. Doesn't really change his lane phase, but Corki does get a free reset because of that.
And does get a free reset, can hold into that TP whenever they so desire. As we look at bot lane, it's just a mirage of skill shots flying all over the place. I'm going to try and see who can land there one more successfully. And a very rare start here for the AD carry. We see a Cole coming out here from Limas.
Yeah, it's just like it's kind of a nothing lane is going to happen bot. Like Limas knows that, so he's just going for the ultimate like income build. Like I'm going to get as much gold as I can. I don't need Thorin's Blade to play this lane. It's just it's better buy.
Yeah, basically, given that what King's going for the tier as well, it is all looking to stack up, farm away. You get some stacks of that for an item later on. I get some gold to cash in at a later date as well. Happy days on either side as the great journey begins already. Only 4 minutes into this one as Draku will be looking around, finding what he can, try and impact the map, as well as teammate in Zornis, returning for a second dish at delivering some pain. Schönfire's life is certainly getting cut out for him.
Yeah, Zornis is being an absolute pest here. Schön doesn't kill the red though.
He cannot, but he gets the stun. The swiper, yes! The flash, the stun against the wall. I was hoping it would happen, and that's first blood, just like that.
This is insane early aim from Zornis. As they are fighting bot lane, heal does go out.
Not enough to get a kill on that occasion, but really well done. Great play from Zornis there, and the heads up for understanding that, look, we can collapse in this play. Stun, flash, get that kill. And if you didn't know any better, you'd think that Swiper was the one that's been jungling for ages.
Yeah, Zornis is blind picking his champion, invading, denying camp, still getting priority in his lane, re-invading, killing the jungler for his team. Like, he's pretty much solo carrying this early game.
He's trying to do it all on his own right now and showcasing why he deserves to have a starting spot and not be the sub. How crazy is that? Zornis joining this team initially as a sub top laner, but getting his chance to display and work with Swiper and making it work so successfully right now. Roma with a great deal of push here. He's going to try and weave in some damage from those minions in towards Kisei as well, as they both wrestle for level 6. Damage continues from this Udyr. And, well, I'm keeping a very firm eye as to how Zornis' game goes.
Zornis does not have access to the TP here, while Steen does. Steen's going to come back with full health and resources, and he's going to be pretty comfortable in this lane where Zornis is going to have to try find a way to get a reset. Swiper is fighting. He can deny the jump away with his W.
3 members collapsing. Schönfire could be in trouble right now. Has to flash. Good flash to safety. Not going to take any chances to get interrupted with that leap across the wall. Terrain was there. A stun was certainly being ready. But a good start overall for Antic and for Ground Zero. I mean, it's not the end of the world. They've still got an insanely strong composition. But it's just not the start that they've been hoping for.
Have started the grubs here, and this is one of the strengths of Bard in Persona. Like, Bard is just able to move around the map freely. Seraphine is not going to get punished by such a weak early game support. And they're going to find themselves the objective early on.
Roma jumping in, level 6, they're ready to go. Looking to try and hit him with that knockback afterwards. Explosive shot, just not enough to get the job done. But ultimately, I think he's not going to be too upset by that one. Just wanted to crash that wave. And was certainly successful in doing that.
Yeah, he still hasn't gone to base yet, so like it's just a little bit of a trade before he bases to reset the wave. I doubt Kisei's going to stay for another wave, so it's going to be neutral. He gets his buy, probably the Noon Quiver, goes for the boots instead, so he's got a bit more pressure around the map, completely fine. And, you know, I think both teams are probably feeling pretty comfortable right now. Like, nothing too crazy's happened. Like, they don't really mind if Rel gets pressured a bit early. She's still going to do her job.
Well, that's it. I mean, you saw there with the numbers mismatch because of Draku roaming. It made it very easy for Antic to have access to those Void Grubs. So they pick up all 3 on that first spawn. Ground Zero then utilised their numbers advantage to go for the very first Dragons. So both teams just playing for what's available, what's easy, and what they can look to try and aim for. In terms of what you'd be looking at as a sort of a win here for Antic, is it as simple as saying that Roman needs to get ahead in this lane and sort of keep Kisei down, or is it one of those things where it's like a scaling champion, you're never going to keep it down?
No, I think Tristan is completely fine to match scaling with Corki. Like, if not, I think Tristan outscales Corki just because Tristan has access to consistent damage. Steen is trying to pull the wave here to deny the dive that could happen. Swipe is going in anyway.
Yeah, Roman with no ultimates, we can't look to try and do an insec as the Tristana. He can just leap away, becoming Mega, getting a whole bunch of HP and hitting a boulder on the fadeaway to make sure that these two have to go back to base. Another massive wave crashing here. And to be honest, with all these points invested in Phoenix, it's just having a field day here.
Yeah, well played by Thien there. Like it's just veterancy that comes in. We have the mega timing for when the wave is stacking to your turret. Pretty much can't. It's just impossible to dive a mega now at that point in the game. Gets away with it. Kisei gets a free wave shoved in mid. Like this is still just like small wins for mid. Like of all these skirmishes is what I'm seeing for Ground Zero.
That's what they need, because Kisei is up by so much right now, having weathered all that potential first blood action. He finds himself up by at least a wave and a half, and will be feeling pretty content that things have gone their way. As we already mentioned, Lemus as well. I mean, despite them being down a fragile amount of gold, they've got so much to capitalize and actually cash in afterwards, right? So once that coal's done, Lemus will start to come into effect. And I'm interested. I mean, the Nyla, do you see this as a champion that has really benefited from all the changes on Season 14?
I believe so. I think Nyla still goes a lethality item first into crit, as you do see a jump in mid with a flash.
We certainly do, as Kisei was grounded for the meantime there, so it made it a little bit awkward for him to try and make a play. The flash to knock up the ultimate in his face, get the kill! They greeted for such a long time, but the Magnet Storm just gets jumped out of, and Schoenfire just a little bit too late to the play. And I tell you what, Swiper's debut in jungle, it's looking good.
I think that was well played by Swiper there. I do believe he flash cancelled, so Corki was unable to get away. So I think that's really well played, like heads up from him.
Great start overall, and it's definitely made sure that Ryoma can look to try and catch up to where Kisei was going. He was starting to really fall ahead, or rather push ahead with that CS difference, so a kill certainly interrupts that flow. And Draco will find himself locked in lane for the meantime to make it a straight 2v2, but a bit of a nothing lane, so we're not going to look at that for too much longer, because both Zornis and Tien are really trading blows as much as they can.
I think something else to touch on is we do see the double support items in bot lane. You would probably assume this favors Sona a lot more, because like we don't really care if Bard is getting extra gold, like it's Bard at the end of the day. Whereas like Sona with the extra items, like that is a hyper carry in the support role. So like just trading evenly is going to favor Ground Zero here.
I would say, you know, CS doesn't actually matter, because when we check in with the overall goal, we'll see that suddenly some person that's like 0 and 5 still has more gold because that item is absolutely broken. Let's see it once again. How does this get played? Because Swiper jumps in, yeah. W interrupting him, grounded, flash too late, and by that point the damage is already done.
Yeah, nice by Swiper as well to have the heads up to push the Rel away instead of using E on the Corki. He knew that Ryan would be able to secure the kill, and he just made sure that his carry had free access to killing the Corki there.
That's experience personified right there. Look how close this is, straight down the middle. I don't think we've ever had a 50-50 that I can remember off the top of my head, but look, a 51-49. I think even the viewers are like, who actually wins this? We don't know.
That's honestly how I feel about this matchup as well.
Yeah.
We are seeing the Grub respawn as well being started by Swiper. I do believe he got the first 3 as well, so if he gets access to 6, it's going to be really good for his team comp. Having that many grubs on champs like Tristana and Udi who have access to turret is like quite an insane amount of tempo they can have.
Absolutely, yes. 6 of those. It's going to be too much to bear, that is for sure, given that both those towers have been getting pushed in the entire time. And they've still got, what, another few minutes to work their magic to summon all those Void Mites to get all that plate gold to really try and snowball themselves ahead. Will the trade-off once again be that with Antic grabbing that, Ground Zero can look to try and play towards the Dragon? Well, I'd imagine it all depends as to where Draco is. If he's rotating around the map, or if he's looking to try and stay in the lane and maybe land a massive Tempered Fate to buy him some more time. We'll wait and see. First item spikes through across. A bit of a different build from Kisei compared to what we saw from Reed Fury. He's actually going to opt for a rush on the Eclipse.
Yeah, it's just a nice item to have now, because you get that shield, and the base lethality is just so strong at this point in the game that Corki's just a bit more like he's defensive. He knows he's going to be jumped on by Tristana. He's adapting his item build to like his matchup. He's still going to be doing a decent amount of damage as well, so he's not too worried.
He's going to be doing a lot more damage in a second because he's got the package in his possession, and he's just waiting for a chance to utilize just that. So he says, you know what, I'll use it on Swiper. You've got no flash. You can't run up because you're burned. You can't run down because there's a jungler. You've got no way out. So he's down for 10 seconds, and that Dragon surely is looking like a tasty treat now for Ground Zero, but they've rotated all the members up. It's actually going to be Lemus to start that one up on his own.
Yeah, Swiper doesn't decide to use his ult there to push away the rest of the team of Corki packaged in. Unfortunately died. I don't expect to see Antic want to contest this anymore. But you know, we'll see. I've been wrong about Earth before. Like, we could see a fight break out right now.
Let's see what decides to happen here, because both King and Draco have so much utility with their ultimates to lock down members for such a long time. Double TP available from these top laners if they were to get involved, but they don't seem to be too interested. Out goes the Tempered Fate, down goes the Dragon. Ground Zero pick it up, double TP coming on in now. Mountain, or rather Magnet Storm onto multiple members as they're jumping around, but massive shot back from Tien. He's found one with that, and he's served that second to Lemus, who gets a double in the process. They win the Dragon fight, and they get 3 kills after.
Yeah, I think that was just a bit of an overexertion from Antic there. Like they didn't have the positioning, they didn't have the teammates to be there straight away. Like the Endis has a beautiful TP from behind, finds the Gnarl, and the rest of the team is able to clean up very easily, as we do see from the replay. Nice Bard ult does land into a huge Seraphine ult, but they just don't have the champions to follow up on this kind of engage. They don't have the AoE or the damage yet. Like a nice turn ult to lock down both carries into like Nyla going in and finding a good ult. Lemus jumps out so he doesn't get killed, and it's just easy cleanup apparently from this point.
It certainly is. It's going to be a bit of a head spinner for me because I said the Magnet Storm, but it's the Apotheosis, right? Both these champions essentially doing the exact same thing with their ultimates of dragging everybody in together. A bit of a nightmare, no doubt, to try and keep your eyes on. Be staring at the ult cooldown to see which one is getting used at either time. But would you say that's like kind of the foundation of what Ground Zero's comp is built to do, is just to find those big stun setups and then try and burst them within that window?
Yeah, I would want to like play my poke game with Corki and make the enemy team feel like they need to like engage with me, because Corki should be a solo threat enough. And then once you find that like they're converging on Corki, you find those like wombo combo engages, like 4 champs who can wombo combo. And that's just Team Visor is pretty much bread and butter from that point.
That is as easy as you like. I guess it is the classic right with a poke champion. Get them low enough that they get pissed off and say, we have to fight. Oh wait, we've just run into a massive AoE ultimate. We're in a bit of trouble right now, which certainly could be true here for TN. He's about to tick over into Mega. And that'll certainly make it a little bit harder, and certainly tell Antic that maybe even in a 3v1, we don't want to dive. This will look elsewhere, turn our attention towards mid lane, and I'll tell you at the moment, Antic absolutely dominate this Loba River. It all belongs to them.
Yeah, they don't really have the setup to trade too well either. Like, the end does have no flash here, but he's respecting, so it's pretty hard for them to do anything. Good thing about this is Seraphine is able to like defend mid pretty easily. Like, her wave clear is like insane at this point in the game.
But just look how much they're denying by both Swiper and Draco hanging out together and making sure that TN cannot get to this tower. The plates have gone down, but Rome has been given all this free CS experience and time to take the tower down and try and keep up on the pace with Kislev, because I would say that's certainly one of his strongest points for Kislev, right? Is he just farms off an absolute treat.
Yeah, I think he's holding the CS per minute records right now in our league. And I think he also had like 113 CS per minute game, which is like quite insane, like hitting Chovy levels. He's always been known for someone who's like really good at farming, and like it's good to know that like he's starting to become like a really consistent, like stable player in the league.
You can ask for, right? Certainly a hot commodity. I'm sure he had a lot of offers going into this league as to who would take him and what roster he actually wanted to be surrounded by. But to hit the ground running when everybody is looking to try and, you know, find their feet, get their grasp of a new meta, figure out what these new items can do. And I think that's what we're starting to get, right? We're getting new champions, we're getting new builds. Obviously the double support item will be something quite unique to this patch, as it will get changed in future ones. But whilst it's relevant, teams are keen to experiment with it.
Yeah, we're also seeing a lot of new items like come out as well. Like, I don't think we've seen. I think this is the MR Sunfire on Rel. Like, I don't think we've really seen this in any other games. And also the we are seeing the Frozen Fist Udyr. I do know that like Leander's Udyr is something that is being played, and I thought that the extra bit of AP damage from Udyr would have been something that they could have done well with this game. But you know, it's interesting to see that he did go for the Frozen Fist. Maybe he wants that little bit of extra slow pressure on the side lane so he can fight that Gnar.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised if it's just all in on the identity of just all, you know, tanky items. Get a Frozen Heart in there, maybe a Randoms, whatever it may be, whatever's sort of needed, I suppose, in the heat of things. Because I feel like a Kanik is going to be a bit of a bait, especially with Corki that can always take that spell shield down. Lane assignments, though, have been switched up a fair bit. So much roaming is the key thing I'm getting away from this, right, between the Poppy and the Bard. The lane assignments get a little bit awkward, but it definitely does mean that Ground Zero can't play it as standard as they would, right? They've always got to be careful of, it could be a 3v1 at any moment.
Yeah, you can definitely see like the team comps coming into play. The Bard is constantly linking up with Poppy. They're running around the map together. As we are seeing a collapse, nothing really happens.
That one.
Yeah, we see the Bard and the Poppy linking up. They want to be running around the map causing chaos. Sona is just sitting mid with Nyla and abusing that passive to just eat full creep experience. Like, you're going to see a 2-level lead happening in the support role, and Sona is the champ that just scales an insane amount. As we are seeing an all-in bot lane.
We certainly are. Zoranus looking for the kill onto TN right now. He's just gone back to Mini, going to hop and jump away, but it does not matter. Look how quick the Udyr goes, runs him down with the speed of lightning, Ghost active.
That's the Frozen
And he
Fist.
finally finds the kill that he needs. And yeah, this build, that's only one item. Imagine once he's full build, this Udyr is going to be a terror.
Yeah, Zoranus is putting in a lot of work this game, honestly. I think he has the early game and the mid game of Antic on his back, and if they do want to hope to be able to play the rest of this game, like, Zoranus will be the one helping do that.
He certainly needs to be a big part of this game. Tempered Fate goes out, locks in place Benby, the only target, instant flash away, Ruma jumps in, Encore catches him, can he burst him within the explosive shot window? He cannot! Ryoma's being baited. He flashes away. Instant buster shot to Kiste, who packages him once. Valkyrie's the second time and says, that's a double, make it a triple. Ryoma, welcome back home, but you've got to get through me first.
This is just a combo of the Nyla dodge passive doing insane work there. Tristana couldn't get any damage onto the Sona while she was CC'd. Kiste comes down the middle with the package, splits up the entire fight, and from that point forward, it's just clean up.
Yeah, that dodge passive, I even forgot about it in a second. Now that is crazy value to say that, no, you're taking no damage here. Stand and deliver. And that's exactly what they did. 2 dragons to the name already. Third one about to come on out. But let's run it back on this replay, because it all starts with Benvi getting called.
Yeah, so you can see the Bardol lands onto Sona. He has flash here, so he's still confident that he's going to get out of here. Flash heal, defensive line. You see the Nyla dodge comes through, straight onto the Sona. No damage is coming through. The Sona ult lands onto Tristana, plus the Corki patch coming down the middle. There's just so much damage going out, and Antic just can't really do anything about this at this point in the game. So
well done in terms of baiting them into that false sense of security and then standing in the fire. The package was ripping through them and making it ever too easy, effortless really there for Kiste to snowball this game out of control in his favor. And it's actually enough now for them to be in a pretty commanding lead, up by a full item at this point. What, 2.5k? And Ryoma's going to be looking at Kiste and thinking, yeah, I need a bit of time. Maybe I'll just sit in the side lane for a little bit longer now.
Yeah, I think at this level of play as well, having a lead like this kind of solidifies that, I think GZ, if they keep playing clean, they can close out this game. Because, when you see Corki able to, Valkyrie forward to a Tristana on side lane, you know the game is in a really bad state for you. I think that the scaling on GZ's side is, quite insane compared to Antic. I think that Sona matches the Seraphine really well, and, the fact that both carries from ground zero are ahead of the clock means that, it's going to be really hard for Antic to find any windows to, get back to the game.
Well, let's see if they can pull a rabbit out of the hat. We talked about how strong Zorinus was before. He's got 2 items now. He certainly is a bit of a Titan to try and get through. He's got Swiper to be the original Titan to back him on up, but it's not going to be that easy right now because Grand Zero know they're strong, and they're certainly looking to try and push their advantage by playing aggressively, take down 2 structures at the same time, and really run riot around the map, forcing Antic to say, yeah, you can roam as a Poppy and Bard, but we're not going to actually allow you to get anything with that.
Yeah, Antic are just trying to they're just getting desperate. They're trying to find the Bardals. There's not really much else they can do. They're not doing anything wrong at this point in the game. It's pretty much all they can do. As we do see Uni going in onto the Nyla.
Massive wombo combo, 2 members charmed at their command. Shutdown found there by King. A second kill onto Schoenfeld. Going to be a little bit harder to try and achieve though, because it is a route, a very tanky member. Swiper gets shot back there by Tien, his old teammate, as he leaps away to safety, but no safety will be found. Zorinus still alive in turtle form, and the knockback was good as Roma gets that kill onto the rail eventually. But a double found by Kiste. Double digits nearly as Kiste's halfway towards it at 5, but he falls on down, does Ryoma. 30 seconds as this Corki has ascended to the high heavens.
Yeah, this is the strength of the Seraphine comp. They just got on top of Lemus and he was unable to do anything as he's just getting beat down by the Udyr. Really good job for Antic to find any form of even fight here. It's just, honestly, it just doesn't feel good that Corki's the one getting all these kills though.
See then how it all started off initially. It was just Schoenfeld just jumping on in, forcing the Herald to get that tower, and then Antic says, well, that's our time to shine, you grouped up.
Yeah, pretty much just you see these double TPs coming instantly. This is something you see from really coordinated teams. Straight away this team fight happens, TPs are going through, and it's just a lot of damage and a lot of stuff going on here. It's lucky that Roma got back into the game. He found some kills here. I think this will be able to close that mid gap quite a bit, but Kise's playing really well to secure these kills for his team, even with them being in losing positions.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, it's a great fact that you can pick up a double kill, but it is Kise picking up the triple and, all importantly, taking down Ryoma in the process. And let's have a quick look at how the gold is looking right now, because I tell you what, my man Kise is farming up an absolute storm, once again ahead of that 10 CS per minute, but then he's got all the kills in the world, the only bounty in the game, and if by some miracle you can take down Kise, you're going to get an extra 1,000 gold, which you really need if you look at that overall scoreboard right here and now. Zorinus jumping on in. He gets locked inside that Tempered Fate with the rest of the team. The Encle's too early! King, he's missed the mark, but they still get that kill. Benvi's dead. The look for another as the Magnastorm happens. The Apotheosis laid on top of it to lock them in place for such a long time. And then finally explodes the shot. They're all clumped up together. The Tristana goes crazy with it. Rocket jumping left, right, and center. Here we go, bouncy castle. And it's a triple kill for the man.
This is just the strong veteran roster coming through. They're doing so good to not fall to the pressure. They set up a trap. They executed their TP advantage. And they found all the kills, all the shutdowns going on to the right people. And then they just put themselves a Baron as well, and they are sitting pretty.
unbelievable turn of events there. You're thinking Ground Zero have got such a strong position. How do they lose it from here? Impossible, but they do. Let's run it back with this replay once again.
So you see Swiper goes straight onto Schoenfire and he sits on top of him with the W, forces Schoen to flash out. Benvy's flash is very close to coming out. Even though Seraphina was mistimed, he doesn't have flash. They find him. Lemus, once again, no flash. Gets on top of Zorius, gets on top of him, he can't move anywhere. And they find Kiste as well on the exit of the fight. No flash. Another one that they just pick up. They get all these kills until all their carries, and I think that Antic might start running away with this game now.
I think the best part of it all was the fact that they all ran away, and you saw the 1,000 gold shutdown go the way of Ryoma, and he's completely back in the game now. Going to be sitting really pretty as he can look to try and match the pain and pressure that Kiste has been dishing out. A turret falls on down as everybody groups up together. This is a 10-man coming together of a Soul Point being looked by Ground Zero. Antic have a Baron. They're feeling pretty strong about themselves, and rather than pushing lanes, they're all in for that fight.
I think it's really important here for Draco to hit a battle on Corki and force this package. Like, if Kiste is able to go forward with this package here, I think this team fight is going to be very hard for Antic.
Comes the Poppy Hammer, they knock away one to start things off with. Rome has already taken out Tien. There is that package. It's going to have to be burnt. It's going to go to the left to try and split apart the fight. Beautiful ult in that regard to make sure that nobody can follow him. And now just Zominus against the world. Finally, it expires. They're going to try and wrap around this underside to get in. But then the rest of the team coming through that main frame is still, Zominus goes on through. They're still looking for more, but 2 kills make it 3, found by Lemus. And at this point really is, who can carry harder? Because it's having a bit of a competition between himself and Kiste. Zominus, as strong as he is, as this Udyr, as quick as he is getting run down.
Beautiful. Honestly, I don't know what else to say. Like, Schoenfire holds his nerve, waits it out, sees the group, and goes straight in. Finds the triple engage. Lemus goes in and cleans up. It's just that combo stacking on top of each other. It's kind of just a bit of like a seesaw game. Like, we see GZ overextend, Antic punish, and now Antic have overextended, and they get punished by GZ. I think this fight started off really, really well for Antic. Like, as you can see, Tien is taking so much damage and dies before the fight even starts. Like, Roma finally found his items, so his damage isn't something you can ignore anymore. We see Kiste split the fight up again with the package and the Seraphina go wide, but Zorinus is just tanking up so much damage. He's so tanky. Like, you would think Antic are in a really good position to win this fight, but as you can see, Schoenfire finds that huge engage onto the Antic roster, and it's just lights out from there.
Look at that slow-mo into the massive cleanup that Lemus found. And, I mean, you could ask yourself the question, I suppose you can be the answer for it. Like, do you feel that Antic made a mistake actually over-chasing for that fight there, or was it much more like, well, they have a numbers advantage, why wouldn't they?
I think that they should chase for sure. I just think it's about the execution. I don't think they put enough respect on Relsul having ulti. Like, you should really be working around that. And like at the high, like when you're at the highest levels, like you should. It's always about outplaying. It's not like, oh guys, like we can't do this because he can. X, Y, and Z might happen. You know, you're just always ready for every scenario and like you react accordingly.
Well, let's see how they react for this next upcoming fight, because Antic did steal away that all-important soul point. Gold has been spread around. You mentioned before that Kiste had too much of it. Well, now it's Lemus who finds himself with 5 kills to his name. 7 share between both the mid laners. They're certainly going to be the late game powerhouses that you've come to love and know over all the years that League of Legends has been around for. But it's all about these AD carries. You say AD carry, I mean, King is still there in a way, but is certainly itemizing it towards all these support items. And if that Encore does hit, as it hasn't connected on these last 2 fights, I feel like that could be the difference maker here.
Yeah, to touch on itemization as well, we have seen the Mortal Reminder come out of Lemus, which means that the healing come out of King will be like cut. It's not going to be as impactful as it was in these recent team fights. But there's no heal cut on the side of Antic, so Sono's going to have free reign in this team fight. As we see a TP coming in, they are collapsing.
They certainly are collapsing, and King knows of it. He's just looking to try and find the perfect angle. Instant flash away from that one, but in goes Schoenfire with a Magnet Storm. Where goes the Encore? It only hits onto one. It's only onto Schoenfire. King running up. We're trying to split this fight apart to try and buy more space for Antic to work around. You have to wait for Draco and Swipe to turn up to the fight. King is still alive. Kiste's missing rockets. He's buying so much time. He'll just take some minions at the same time as well before he inevitably runs on down and maybe tries to actually lose aggro to deny himself to that tower. We continue all the way on the opposite end of bot lane. He did in fact deny himself, which is phenomenal work, and has wasted all of Kiste's time.
I think Kiste was trying to delay the death as much as possible, as we do see like double objectives spawning in a minute, and both these objectives are game deciding, so delaying that Seraphine respawn as much as possible would have been really effective, but you know, King with his knowledge just knows, you know, I need to get myself off the map as soon as possible and just run straight into the turret and dies.
I need to respawn as quickly as I can. As you saw There was pressure elsewhere on the map, whilst Grand Zero were running and chasing after as many members as they could from Antic through that bot lane channel. It was Tien on his own little mission, crashing in that top wave. Actually, all those turrets gone now, and completely exposed top lane turret to open up that base. And do you feel like that's the way a game could potentially go, that we just descend into split pushing, or very much what we've seen is what we're going to get, just more fighting after more fighting?
I think what we see and what we're going to get, like if you look at the GZ side, they have no TPs right now, so even if like they win this team fight, you're not really going to see them TP to a side lane and like win the game like that. I think that more than likely we're going to see the game decided in this next team fight around this objective.
Well, the next objective could be one of two, the Baron in 20 or the Dragon. Soul Point chance number 2 up in 20 as well. It's going to be the Hextech Soul. Not a bad one to actually pick up with the channels as well. Tempered Flash not going to be connected on. Benvi flashing out of that one. So, no chance to try and hit a massive flash crescendo. Going to be a little bit more defensive in his positioning now as a result of that one. But Antic have bullied out Grand Zero from this Dragon Pit.
Collapsing
Next
on
question in, what would they decide to do instead? Because they found out Tien in the bot lane, way too over pushed, and surrounded by 5, he's in a lot of trouble. Dashes across the wall, runs into the waiting arms of his team, and Antic have been completely taken.
Yeah, they got put on a little bit of a journey there, you know, but they still got the flash out of now, which is huge, less backline threat. Looks like Antic are just starting. Kisei's only grabbing the package now, so they know he's not here.
Yeah, it's going to be a 4v5. Kisei's got no TP, but he's got all that movement speed from having the package, so he's running as quick as he can. Benvi falls on down first of all. Tien leaps in, gets shoved on back. Zoranus finds that kill, but now here comes Kisei, packaging into free. He can do so much damage, look at that! He's taken out so many with the assistance of Limas that it doesn't even matter if he rocks up to the fight late. He gets the job done.
He didn't even try to run, he just packaged in. He's like, I'm going down with or without you guys. No, huge respect. I think that's really well played by Limas there to turn the fight around with his ult flash. Obviously really good. Maybe we'll see it in the replay as well. I think Raymond did a really, really good job of marking the Nar there. You see he ulted him out of the fight as well, which was like something that... All these little tiny micro interactions that we'll see in this replay are like very impressive from both sides. And we see the Poppy Copter knocking Rel away. We see that all the damage is going down here. Benvi goes down, doesn't have flash. You watch Steen, gets pushed out the fight straight away the Rel ult. I mean the Tristana ult. Limas does so much damage here, and then we have Kisei going and just stand and deliver. He's doing so much work.
I mean, he just stood still and said, there's my package, here's all my rockets, good luck. Like, you know, we are going to be fighting to the death, and Limas just entertains the idea, right, and is there to play cleanup crew with him. And whilst Antic have been doing a good job of stalling this one out in terms of no soul point, I mean, Grand Zero said, we've had enough of this one. We know we're strong. We can just continue to fight like we have been. TP in, no hesitation, straight away, take that Baron.
Yeah, it's just really well played. They see Seraphine bot. Even though Seraphine has DP, it's like, at this point in the game, there's way too much damage. There's way too many items, and like objectives just melt.
Yeah, it was just too little too late, wasn't it? TP coming in there from King. By the time he'd arrived, the Baron had already fallen on down. And as you mentioned, right, we're fast approaching level 18 on a lot of these max carries. And certainly working their way towards that 5th and final item.
Yeah, remember, still looking for his Bloodthirster. I feel like when he gets this item, like, he's going to have a much easier job in team fights, because like, so much of the damage coming out isn't one shot, it's just a bit of poke, like he gets whittled down, but if he's able to sustain up in these team fights with Seraphine plus his Bloodthirster, he's going to be much happier.
Absolutely, needs to sustain first of all, doesn't he? To try and weather all this pain and harass and actually stick around. No, the face check, Benvi, don't do it! He's bedded him out completely, the movement speed to run away afterwards. I know exactly where they all are, do not face check that bush.
Benvi is giving me anxiety. No flash, running into the bush.
It's a squishy Sona, like, come catch me, guys.
I've seen this way too many times with Benvi. I'm getting flashbacks.
Bro is playing on the edge right now, but he's managed to figure out the madness behind it all. Does he do it again? Surely not. The face chicken to Zoran as he says, all right, bring it on. Free-man crescendo. Schoenfire looking for something. An ideal chance for a Magnet Storm, but Antic looking to try to stay just far enough back that it wouldn't be too easy for them to set that one up. Meanwhile, Tien, once again, pushing another wave, fading out a Tempered Fate, and really forcing Antic to run out of ideas and solutions to the problem, which is Grand Zero in your face.
Yeah, Antic is making it really, really hard to siege the space. Like, you kind of forget that GZ has Baron here, and like they just really haven't got access to the other siege's turrets.
We've done a few ultimates to try and make this one a reality, and Grand Zero have said, well, what else do you have left to throw at us? Not that much, so let's actually start to siege things up and make things happen. Rooted in place to Schoenfire, he's altered the ground. and then being knocked back. He burnt the flash. It's a real disaster, as he will be the first one to fall on down. Benvy's so low, but it doesn't matter because Lemus has fallen. No passive this time to dodge out these attacks. And now it is Reset City, baby. Double, soon to be a triple. You'd have to imagine, because where is Benvy going? And King says, maybe we can just play together and delay your recall.
They probably think that they can end here. That's why Remember decided not to chase. I think that, like, that quick thinking is very, very good. They have 30-second timers on most of the players from GZ, so we'll see what they can do. Remember, they do have the 6 grubs they got earlier, so these turrets will be absolutely melted.
Absolutely getting shredded right now. They had no wave before, so it took them so long to try and take down that first turret, but the second one went down in little to no time whatsoever. With 10 seconds left of the Baron. Oh, Benvy! You psycho! He's nearly taken out Swiper. He's just pumped on his burnt flash to try and do that. Oh no! This is looking a little bit dicey right now. The 3-man crescendo make it 4 actually as the respawn happens. Schoenfire is here. 1 turret down. Benvy dead. Onto the second one they go. Looking to try and end this game right here, right now. Temper Fate goes across. Rome is still
open.
damaging. They're on towards the Nexus, and they do it! In 33 minutes, Antic pull a rabbit out of our hat and say, bloody hell, what was that?
See, these are the player cams I want to see when you win a base race like that. You know, I want to see the boys getting hype after a game. What a way to end the game.
What a way to end the game indeed. From what looked like a Grand Zero win, from all the fights we were seeing where both Kisei and Lemus were popping off out of their minds. It just felt like the Zominous show was a little bit too hard to try and shake on down. Too tanky, too good. And the grand reveal of this Antic roster certainly did not disappoint. They currently lead at the break here in this best of 2, 1-0. We'll get the conclusion right after this.